A pilot, left alone in the cockpit, suffers a violent seizure high above the Spanish capital of Madrid, and the door between him and his colleague is, of course, locked. This and a lot more will be covered in today's world premiere of Ben's and my new podcast, Captains Speaking, which has also gotten its own YouTube channel. In this video, I will give you a taste of the type of content that you can expect from it, but if you want to see the whole thing from the very beginning, well then use this link and please consider subscribing. But now, let's show you what it's all about.
The thought of just having one person in the flight deck to me just feels so alien. Throughout my entire career with my current employer, previous employer, it's just always been two.
Yeah, it's interesting because that rule of having two people in the cockpit, that was in place well before German.
Yeah.
Right? That was not something that came with Germanwings. It was something like it just made intuitive sense to make sure that if something happened to that well, you never know. Like aneurysms happens like this, stroke happens like that. It doesn't come with a 3-minute warning, you know?
No, and the whole of aviation is built around redundancy, isn't it? Resiliency and redundancy, and it seems this is a little weak part of the chain that we have no redundancy for if there's one person in there.
No, exactly. So, I mean, I know I've heard people discussing like, well, what about, how much security clearance have the cabin crew gone through? Is there a risk that someone is going to come in that actually have nefarious intentions? But I mean, at some point you have to actually trust the crew that is operating the aircraft, right?
Yeah, absolutely. When I apply for an airport security card, as you do, as every pilot person that works airside, so once you're past security, we all have to have a very, very comprehensive background check, which takes a huge amount of time to go through. And once you've got that, your background is clear and you're approved to work airside and on aircraft and so on. So my take on that is either you're trusted or you're not. Yeah. And if you're not, then you shouldn't really be there in the first place.
No, and I would completely agree with that. But anyway, so what happened in this case was that there was no one left with the first officer. The first officer was pilot flying already, so there was no need to change over roles or anything. The captain just handed the radios over to the first officer. He went out, locked the door, because that's one thing that has come from September 11th, the 9/11 attacks, that the cockpit doors on commercial aircraft are now locked, right? So the door locked. He went and did his thing. And about a minute after the captain had left the cockpit, the first officer had some kind of seizure. The cockpit voice recording was collected after the incident, as well as the flight data recorder. And it showed that about a minute in, they could hear physical sounds of the first officer having a seizure, a severe seizure. And as he was doing so, he started probably flailing around. We don't have cameras in the cockpit, so we don't know exactly what happened, but you could see on the flight data recorder that certain systems started changing, as in like it seems like he was hitting buttons. It included switching listening to the Morse signal from the VOR, for example. One of the SEC computers, as the flight control computers, was turned off, and this is the real deal here. The right rudder pedal was pushed in, right? So the seizure was severe and it caused him to push the rudder. And that is not good when you're flying at Mach 0.79 or 0.8. Like the rudder is a huge surface in the back. Now, fortunately, the Airbus system recognized that there should not be any rudder pushing here. Right, and it's a fly-by-wire aircraft, so all the inputs are basically computer signals that goes to the actuator, but it goes through a computer, and the computer gets the chance to kind of think if this makes sense or not. So the computer said basically, stop pushing rudder. Instead of actually moving the rudder much, it did move a little bit, but not much. But it said, stop pushing rudder. You should not be pushing rudder now, basically. And the autopilot remained engaged. Now, this is an Airbus, and you can actually push the rudder enough on an Airbus as well to disconnect the autopilot. In this case, that was not done. It did not reach the threshold value. But this is not good. Like this, we now have an incapacitated pilot with seizures that is pushing rudder controls in the cockpit. with the other pilot outside.
That's how it sounds when Ben and I speak completely unscripted with our honest opinions, and I bet that you want to see how that conversation continues. If that's the case, well then go to the Captain Speaking channel right now and watch the whole thing. Or you can also listen to it on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts, even though we might still be working on getting it up everywhere for the first few days. Anyway, I hope that you will really like it, and let us know what you think in the comments of the new channel, and also don't forget to ask any questions, because we will try to cover some of them in the coming episodes. Check it out now and have an absolutely fantastic day. Bye bye.